Is your basement costing you money? Today is Friday, March 6th, 2020. My name is Noel Chevrier, also known as Handy Dan the Makita Man. I've been in the rental business for much of my working life. My favorite type of project is doing complete basement developments. And that's exactly what I'm here to talk to you about today. Your basement. Yes, your basement. That might be costing you thousands, if not tens of thousands, every single year if you aren't using it to its full capacity. In other words, if you're just using your basement for storage only, I assure you that it's the most expensive storage facility you could ever use. On the other hand, if you were to convert your basement into a rental suite, it would then become a money-making machine for you. Depending on the size of your basement, you'd likely generate anywhere between a bare bones minimum of $800 to upwards of $2,200 a month. That's somewhere between $10,000 and $26,000 a year that you're missing out on. Anyhow, I'd like to share some ideas with you that can and will put money into your pocket. As you're likely aware, there has been, and there still is, a very high demand for rental suites throughout the province of BC. And you've not taken advantage of that yet. Perhaps somewhere in the past you had given some thought to developing a suite in your basement, but for whatever reason, you chose not to. Assuming that you might have concluded that you felt that you just could not afford to do it, I'm here to tell you that the exact opposite of that is likely true. You can't afford not to do it. As I mentioned earlier, single, double, and three-bedroom basement suites range anywhere between $800 and $2,200 a month. There is such a high demand that even the not-so-modern suites are generating those revenues. Let me give you a few examples of what people are actually renting their places for right now. Following are some examples of basement suite rental costs that I've researched from current Kijiji ads of bachelor, 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units in the following cities of Salmon Arm, Enderby, Kamloops, Vernon, Revelstoke, Kelowna, Vancouver, North Van, and Burnaby. Now, for some reason, Salmon Arm doesn't have a whole lot to choose from. And all I've come across was a few one-bedroom basement suites. Here's an example at $900 per month. Now, I'm uncertain as to whether or not there is a demand in Salmon Arm, but surely there's got to be. It's a bustling little town. If you don't have a place for rent in Salmon Arm, by all means get on it. Now, Enderby, which is less than a half hour away from Salmon Arm, had one two-bedroom basement suite available. A nice big 1,500 square foot unit for $1,300 a month. That's crazy. Now, I'm not suggesting that anyone should gouge their tenants, but when you see rents like $1,300 in a small town of Enderby, you've got to consider doing this for yourself. It's worth it. That's pretty much all I come up with in Salmon Arm. There were no three-bedroom suites available, and there were no bachelor suites available in Salmon Arm whatsoever. Kamloops, on the other hand, is a different story altogether. I'm going to give you three examples, the first one being in Dallas, which is about 15 to 20 minutes away from downtown, a one-bedroom suite at $1,000. And here's one downtown on Fraser Street, listed at $1,200 a month. And if you want to live in Sun Rivers, you can have a one-bedroom basement suite for $1,400 a month. There you go, folks. That's crazy, but it is reality. Now, Westmount is a nice area as well at the north end of Kamloops. Here's a two-bedroom asking $1,400 a month. And if your heart is set on living in Sun Rivers, a two-bedroom going for $1,600 a month. Now, Sahali's the place to be if you want to have a great view of the city, depending on what side of the street this suite is on. A three-bedroom unit, $2,100 per month. Now, I'm just going to point out here that the cost to build a bedroom is the least expensive cost of your suite. The most expensive rooms are the kitchens and bathrooms. Bedrooms are cheap to do. So if you have the space, put in a three-bedroom. Now, West Side is a pretty nice area in Kamloops, with the exception of all of the heavy volume of traffic. Look at what a bachelor suite is going for there, $950 a month. Typically, a bachelor suite might be anywhere from about 400 to 550 square feet. You know, if you've got 1,100 square feet of basement to use, you could stick in two bachelor suites with a shared bathroom. Look at the kind of money you can earn from this. Now, Vernon doesn't have a whole lot to offer either. I found a few one-bedroom and two-bedroom suites available. Look at what they're asking in Vernon for a one-bedroom basement suite. $1,450 a month. Now, are people actually paying that? This was only posted a day ago, as you can see. Maybe it's going to sit there for 3 months. I don't know. But if they're renting, wow. And here's that two-bedroom unit in Vernon, $1,300 a month. You know, when you consider the possibility of two people living in this place, that's a shared cost of $650 a piece, and most people can afford to pay that. That's a reasonable amount to ask for a two-bedroom apartment anywhere, and it's easy enough to get. As with Salmon Arm, there were also no three-bedroom suites nor bachelor suites available in Vernon. Now, there's also a possibility that people are advertising elsewhere other than Kijiji, and I limited this research to Kijiji only. Now, there isn't a whole lot to find in Revelstoke either. In my search, I only found one two-bedroom basement suite available. Here is somebody looking to rent a place in Revelstoke. So by the looks of it, there isn't much available that's at least being advertised. I didn't find any one bedroom, three bedroom, or bachelor suites at all. Here's that two-bedroom unit for $1,250, which is very reasonable, considering there isn't a whole lot available to begin with. Now, Kelowna is similar to Kamloops in that there's a big selection of places, but that has not driven the price of units down. For example, here's a one-bedroom unit for $1,400 in the city of Kelowna. Wow. And here we are with a two-bedroom unit in Kelowna at $1,650. Now, for two people to share this, you're looking at $825 a piece. That's a little steep in a sense, but three people could share it for sure. And you're looking at, slightly over $500 a piece for rent. So it isn't out of the question to ask $1,650 for a two-bedroom unit if there are three people that are going to be renting it. It's only $550 a piece. And if you can handle three people living in your basement, then that's not such a big deal. On the other hand, though, if there are three of you, why not go for a three-bedroom, which is only $600 a month? So $1,800 a month for a three-bedroom basement suite. The most expensive portion of a suite is the bathroom, the kitchen. The bedrooms are inexpensive to do. So if you're going to put in a one bedroom, why not put in a two? If you've got the square footage, why not put in a three? Or convert your unit to a couple of bachelors. That will double your income. And if you've got a small house and all you can do is put in a bachelor suite, if you're in Kelowna, look at what they're getting for it. $800 for, a room that's probably 4 to 550 square feet. That's a decent revenue to generate for yourself. You got a nice quiet person in your place, never hear them, probably. Maybe it's a student, doesn't have a car, so you're not worrying about parking for him. It's ideal. Now, for those of you watching this in Vancouver, a one-bedroom suite, $1,300. If your basement is doing nothing but storing your stuff, my goodness, it's costing you $1,300 a month to store your stuff. Put it in a storage locker and rent your basement out. 1,300 simoleons. Ay caramba. North Vancouver. Two-bedroom basement suite. $1,900. That's $950 a piece if there are only two of you. But that's what they're getting for it, folks. It's unfortunate for the renter for sure. But if you've got a basement suite doing nothing but storing your stuff, put in an apartment. Period. Still in North Van, three-bedroom, $2,750. For three people, that would be $917 a piece. That's a lot of money. For four people, you're looking at $688 a piece. Well, that's not too bad. Five people, $550 a piece. That's reasonable. And six people, if your landlord would allow it, $458 a piece. And if you could stand living with five other people. I know I couldn't. I have a hard enough time living with myself. And here we are coming down to the wire. A 450 square foot bachelor or studio suite, $950. How can one person afford that is beyond me, but that's what they're asking in Burnaby. So here are the goods, folks. It's worth your while to take out a home equity line of credit and put a basement suite into your home. Isn't it time you put a stop to your basement costing you money every month? Put it to work for you and have it earn its own keep for a change. Now brace yourself, folks. You're about to see my handsome face once again. And I'm going to take this story in a totally different direction for a moment. To get right to the point, depending on the extent of renovations that you decide to have done, you can have your basement developed for a whole lot less than from $800 to $2,200 a month, netting you a cash flow from day one. And here's why I say this. Now, you don't need me to tell you this, but the cost of borrowing money is so affordable today. I mean, even if you were to take out a $50,000 home equity line of credit, otherwise known as a HELOC, you'd still be way ahead of the game. Not months or years down the road either, but immediately. True, you would create a positive cash flow from the moment you begin to rent your suite. And being that there is such a high demand for rental suites, you'd undoubtedly have it spoken for long before the suite was even available for occupancy. Yes, with interest rates remaining at an all-time low, it just makes all that much more sense to do it now. Now, how much might a basement development cost, you might ask? That, of course, depends on a number of factors, such as the total square footage to be developed, and aside from framing, insulating, soundproofing, drywalling, and painting, you'd have to consider the possibility of needing egress windows installed. There's also the electrical, plumbing, heating, kitchen, bathroom, and so on that needs to be done. The difference between whether your basement is already partially finished or whether it's a bare bones structure, that's going to definitely affect the cost as well. What if a separate entrance would be required? That could mean excavation, a set of outside stairs. The flip side of that is possibly you've already done some extensive renovations over the years and all you'd have to do is put in a bathroom and a kitchen. Now, if you decided to put in a legal suite, you'd have to have a separate heating system, a separate electrical system. And yes, that's a costly thing to do. So yes, there are all of these other things to consider which definitely contribute to the overall cost of the upgrade. And just to assure you that I'm not trying to mislead you, your land taxes would likely increase, and as a result of you generating this additional income, your income tax would likely go up. Your accountant will advise you on that. But with all that being said, I would like to make a very crucial point here. Really, it doesn't matter what the overall cost of the renovation would be. It doesn't matter. What matters is this. Will the revenue exceed the monthly payment? And if it does, by how much? If you could end up with more coming in than what is going out each month, and if you could live with the idea of sharing that part of your house with others, what would prevent you from moving forward on a project such as this? So, no two places being alike. It could cost as little as $10,000 to do what's needed, Or it could cost you as much as $100,000 if you really wanted the best of the best. But in reality, as I had already mentioned, the per square foot cost will much depend on the extent of work that is needed to be done so as to achieve the results that you want to achieve. So in my synopsis, I'll be providing you with an overview using an example loan amount of $50,000 with 4 different interest rate scenarios ranging between 5 and 12%, as well as showing what the monthly payments might be for each of those rates, spread over 5 different amortization scenarios ranging between 5 and 25 years. Once again, I must remind you that no two jobs are identical. Being that a basement development could range anywhere between $10,000 and $100,000, I'm using $50,000 as a median example, so as to demonstrate what the payments might look like. Naturally, anything less than $50,000 would be less, and anything in excess of $50,000, the payments would be higher. And if I could be so bold as to make this next statement, if it works out to make sense at a $50,000 renovation, whereby you can still put money into your pocket each month, then any amount less than $50,000 becomes a no-brainer. As for using a variety of interest rates in my synopsis, the reason is this. Although I'm no expert on how the financing world works, it only stands to reason that no two people's situations are identical. Although at the moment the prime lending rate is somewhere around 4%, each individual's credit score along with their overall debt load is going to affect what interest rate they are going to be offered by their financial institution. But once again, in my humble opinion, what really matters most is whether or not the monthly revenue exceeds the monthly expenditure. And of course, the overall purpose of my exercise too is that I hope that you would consider hiring me to take care of doing the work for you. But in the event that you already have a go-to contractor that you would likely use, by all means, share this information with them and get this work done for yourself. You'd be doing yourself a big favor. It would simply be awesome to know that perhaps I might have influenced you to get this done. That in itself would be fine and dandy for Handy Dan, the Makita man. On the other hand, if you don't already have someone, by all means, I'm here at your service. So as to give you some indication of my well-rounded abilities, I have another couple of videos posted on my channel, and I will leave one of the links below in the comments section. Simply click on the link and away you go. Thanks for coming by. I hope you're able to draw something of value from my presentation. Thank you for tuning in. That concludes part 1 of Is Your Basement Costing You Money? The link to part 2, as well as my other video containing footage of some of my past jobs, are both inserted below in the description box. Please feel free to share this video with others who might also be in the market to have their basements converted into suites for themselves. You can also contact Handy Dan the Makita Man by phone or text at 250-572-7624 or send me an email at handydancan101@gmail.com. Thank you, and I hope to see you in part 2.